Okay guys, we're just going out again on the Yas Marina Circuit in the Porsche 911. Now this one has got the rear wheel steer and the PDCC, and I talked about this a lot yesterday if you're watching us on Facebook, and I found a lot of difference between this car and the car without. So I'm here with, introduce yourself, James.
Hi, my name's James Burnett. We've been looking after this program now for about 14 days.
Yeah.
Training to start with, and then looking after you guys with the press.
So I've asked you, and you very kindly agreed to just take me around, just to show me what the differences are between this system, how it affects the car, how it affects the drive, and just explain a little bit about how they actually work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there we have two different versions. The PDCC is an option on the new 911, and also rear axle steering is available as well. So this car that we're driving now has both PDCC and it has rear axle steering. So we're going to drive this car, and then we're going to drive the one without, so you can actually see the difference of the two. And
hopefully you'll be able to actually see that through these cameras. I know it's hard to translate, but we'll try and talk you through this as well, so you get a feeling of how it feels from here in the driver's seat and the passenger seat.
Okay, so we'll start to just increase the speed a little bit. The Yas Marina Circuit is quite a difficult circuit to drive. It's, there's some very slow corners, but then the approaches are quite quick. But as you can see with this car, it sits very, very flat in the corners, okay? Not a lot of understeer at all, and this is down to the rear axle steering. And as you can see, it looks pretty effortless.
It does, it does. I mean, and like you say, where there is some movement, it's not like out of control movement. It's just very, very gradual movement that's just sort of skimming across the surface of the tarmac.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't got much understeer, we haven't got much oversteer. It's just keeping it nice and flat. And that's the key, it is keeping it flat. Yeah. So the way that PDCC works is there is an actuator on all of the four wheels. Yeah. And as you start to come into a corner, normally you would then get the body roll. But with PDCC, you don't get that body roll because it jacks up the other side of the car to keep it flat through the corners. And you can be quite aggressive, particularly through there, you can actually be quite aggressive with the throttle and with the steering, but it still keeps it flat at all times.
It's incredible. I mean, as a novice driver, I found it much easier to drive, harder, but even as a passenger, okay, on the camera it probably looks like I'm being thrown around a bit, but it's the G-forces. It's not the motion of the body, it's the G-forces that are actually affecting me. But it just feels very, very stable. And even when it just starts to break traction there, it still stays very flat and just sort of skims along the top. You don't feel like you're going to spin out or anything in this car.
No, exactly, and I think that's the key, is where you're actually accelerating out the corners, you're moving the weight to the rear axle. So you could say it's stepping out, but actually it isn't. It's helping you turn into the corners.
That's amazing.
And you're using the throttle to actually steer from the rear rather than applying that much steering lock.
It's an incredible sensation to just to feel that back end working with you rather than against you as you're trying to go through a corner.
And that's the rear axle steering.
So do you think now, James, that all that mystique of the rear engine 911 and its pendulum effect has been cured now through this system? This is it?
Okay, so we'll just start to slow down, but basically I don't believe it has. I mean, at the end of the day, the car is fantastic. It is a lot more stable. The new 911 undoubtedly is more stable through corners. One of the reasons for this is the rear axle steering, but secondly, we have a wider rear tyre than we used to have. And this has really made, just by making it that little bit wider, it's really made a big difference. I've driven both cars back to back, the current generation and the new generation. And particularly with the new generation, even in its standard form, okay, without PDCC, without rear axle steering, it's much more pointy. It really turns into the corners. It doesn't wash over the front axle quite as much as the current generation.
Great stuff, James. Thanks so much. Can't wait to try the other car now.
Fantastic. Let's go and jump in it.
That's it. Okay, so the second part of that, where we're showing you the difference between the PDCC and the rear wheel steering, and in this car now doesn't have these systems. So this is also a 911, it's the new generation 911, but it doesn't have those systems. So what's the differences that we're expecting to feel?
Okay, so as we're going to drive this car, it's new 911 still has the wider rear tyre, so stability is still very good. But what PDC does is basically enable the car as you come into the corner to level itself out. So it provides much more, even more stability and higher speed cornering. Probably yesterday, I know that you said something about the steering in this car. You felt it was quite light. you will find it quite light because the car, if anything, is starting to push a little bit at the front nose. Okay. Also, these tyres are 14 days old.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody was saying yesterday, sometimes it's to do with the tyres, the feeling of the, and these cars can be quite sensitive to how the tyres are wearing.
Absolutely, and with the engineers, that was one of the biggest things that they were saying is, you know, you need to have, good tyres. These are obviously very bald now, so we'll just increase the speed a little bit, and what I'm saying is you turn in, you'll notice now it's just pushing on the front axle a little bit, more than it was in the PDC car. So again, a little bit also, you can feel the rear, a little bit sliding.
Already I see you having to correct a little bit more with this one, you know.
Correct. The other car, very, very stable in the corners. This one, you've got a bit of movement there.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I would call that squiggly right there. You know what I mean? That's really good. And even as a passenger, I can feel I'm being thrown around much more in this car than I was in the other car. The other car, you feel the G-forces, but here, literally, you are rolling around.
Yes. And only the fact that you're reducing the body roll in the PDCC car, because basically it doesn't allow for any body roll. It keeps the car very flat in the corners. And then through here, obviously this is a great bit of the circuit to test that, because it's a slalom, you know, it's a right, then a left, then a right. Again here, look, a little bit of movement there in the car, so it's just starting to move. I'd say mainly that's down to tyres.
But also I can feel that, you know, you feel more of the slide in this car. You don't feel the slide so much in the other car. Tremendous speed carried through those double apexes there. Nice.
But bear in mind at the moment we're running all with the PSM on, because we wanted to show you again there. I'm just adjusting the throttle because we're just pushing over the front axle, as you can see there. Even if I adjust the steering wheel, it's still pushing on because we're just over the limit of grip.
But it feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from where I'm sitting, it feels like you're working a bit harder with this car compared to the other one.
Yeah, and I think it's speed as well, Shahzad. When you're driving into one of the corners, with PDCC, you're driving at a much higher speed. So that's why you feel, it builds you confidence, it makes you feel like a great driver.
Very nice. So, as a professional driver, what's more preferable to you?
I can't tell you because I'm not a professional driver. I think PDC, it really adds a benefit.
I mean, to somebody like me, that to me is an easier car to drive quicker than I would normally go. Yes. This one is to be honest, this one is more intimidating.
I think that, well, I don't know. I mean, this allows a lot of freedom. It allows a lot of fun. With PDCC, you could say that there's a lot more technology in the car, so it's taking a little bit away from the driver if you're a purist. So I think by not making certain things standard and by offering options, there is a market for everybody, whether it be from a price point of view or whether it be from the driver. You can make it very individual to your own requirements.
That's it,
and that's the thing, nothing is you have to have this or you have to have that.
It's an amazing level of complexity in these new products from Porsche, in that you can have it with the Chronopack, without the Chronorack, with the PDCC, without. So like you say, you've got a lot of facilities there to just tailor it the way you want and the way you like. But I suppose the only way to find out what you want is to come on a driving day like this, really, and to try the cars out back to back.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about you guys experiencing and being able to do a back to back, so you can actually see the difference. Bear in mind, we're not just talking about PDCC here. We're talking about rear axle steering, and the technologies together is what really integrates and how it works together and makes an absolutely fantastic car.
Thank you so much, James. Thanks for talking us around these couple of laps. It's been fun. Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks a lot.